Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elisabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Elisabeth and Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Okay, so we do have a couple of questions in the ask a question thing.
Okay, so this has the most upvotes.
Okay.
Asking now, I may have to piece out to pick up the kids. I'm part-time and pretty small, and this year has been rough like it has been for a lot of us. I think I need to pivot and focus on products, more so focusing on artwork and designs rather than just stationery. But how do I go about deciding which products to have printed, which to invest in, and which to save for later? Thank you.
Have a pre-sale, a pre-order to see which products really resonate with your audience. And then if you don't sell any in your pre-order, you don't have to print them at all. Or you can always just start off really small too and order like, a quantity of 10 or a quantity of 1. Like you can start very, very small with it and don't feel like you need to invest into thousands. And if you do decide to join the A to Z directory, we have vendors who offer small quantities. So you're able to just test the waters. And even if you're like, I'm going to make a card and you just print it at home, like one at home and just like show it to people. And then you're like, people are actually interested. And then you're like, okay, I can see people like this. I'm going to go ahead and invest in ordering 10, which is like really, really cheap if you use our vendors. Then it's totally fine. But in terms of like deciding which designs are best, which designs aren't best, again, got to show up strong. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, I have no idea. And I get so caught up in overthinking and I'll just literally send something to my VA, Jacqueline, and be like, pick one because I don't know anymore. And so like when I come down to like 2, I just have someone else help me with that.
Yeah, and I would say like start small expense-wise.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to go out and purchase like what you just did with your tea towels where you have to spend thousands up front. Don't do that.
Yeah,
you want to do something like small, like greeting cards,
art prints. Art prints have a really good profit margin and they're not that much cost up front. So if like you have a design that's doing well in art print, you're like, okay, this is a really cool design. It's doing well. Now let's see if I can transfer that to a tea towel and see if that works and try a new product category. So just start with something that's a little bit more, approachable?
Accessible.
Oh, accessible.
Financially accessible.
Financially accessible. Something that's a little bit cheaper. So.
Yeah, guys, it is majority U.S. wholesalers. We have a small section of international ones. It would work really well if you're wanting to sell like products to people in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like make your Etsy shop like sell to specifically U.S. and do drop shipping. You could do that.
But we do have an international section of the directory. There's a lot of Australian and Canadian suppliers. I don't know what country you're in, but we do try to keep it updated. And as we find new people, the cool thing about the A to Z directory is it's literally always growing and changing. And as we discover new amazing printers that someone's recommended in this country, we will add them to the directory. And on the main directory too, they have like the little country flags next to them. So you can know what country they're in.
And I would say like the greatest value of the directory is not even necessarily the list.
Facebook
it's
group.
being part of the Facebook community, asking for insight and help from people, being a part of our monthly power hours, which is what we call them.
Basically this every month.
This dynamic like every month. So if you're like looking for a creative community, that could be well worth the price of $103 for your first year.
Yeah.
And try it out.
Y'all. If you don't like it, then you can cancel.
The lowest the first year of the directory ever was $97.
Yeah.
So you guys are like, bananas. This is $6 away from that. Like,
we're literally giving away our stuff. And we're like, should we do that? I was like, yes, we will do it. Yes.
Okay. I want to know if either one of y'all has created a comprehensive pricing guide. Of course, based on the bride and her needs, pricing will change, but I would love to create a spreadsheet to easily refer to in creating invoices or even a pricing guide for my website or potential clients. I did that at one point.
I've never done that.
But then what I found out was like, okay, so the way that I organized it is it was kind of like a spreadsheet with like different itemized lines, right? Like guest envelopes,
like kind of like packages to be like, if you got this, this is how much it would be.
And this would include, I did like little X's kind of. And then at the top, it was like package 1, package 2, package 3, and package 4, which was like the highest, which like included everything and was like $5,000 plus or whatever. But what I ended up like realizing with that is that I still like broke that so often depending on like clients' wants and needs and quantity. Okay, that was like the biggest struggle because that pricing chart was based on a quantity of 100 invitation suites that were digitally printed, which is the most least expensive option. So as soon as people asked for like foiling or letterpress or something crazy and different, those prices are going to go up like 3 times. And so then you have the whole problem with the expectations. Then they're like, oh, well, your online guide said that I could get 100 of these for like $2,000. And you're like, oh no, but do you see the tiny print down here that says like that was only digitally printed?
And they're like, what the heck does that mean?
They don't even understand like what it means. So that was like kind of the problem that I was running into. I do like having what I consider to be my wedding guide. So my wedding guide talks a bit about my process and timeline. And on the investment page, all it says is like my average client spends like $4,000 to $7,000 with me, which now I would say I think it's like even higher than that. So I just put like a price range of kind of like what to expect. And on my online inquiry form, there is not an option for less than $4,000 to $5,000. They have like 3 options, I think.
Yeah.
It's like $4,000 to $5,000, $5,000 to $6,000. Actually 6 to 7 and then 7+. Those are like the ranges that I like get people to give them that like, that's kind of like the mental like check, right? That's like, so she will not be giving me a proposal for something like less than 4,000. That is where her like pricing starts when she asks for the budget. So that's kind of how I have decided to do it. I know that you've never like done a pricing guide. It depends on how Cami feels during the day.
But also like internally, like I know what like my prices are because I do the same. I have the same thing. Like you have a spreadsheet that you would like fill, like you could put like the quantity and it changed the numbers. It wasn't like full client facing. She asked about like a pricing guide or a spreadsheet to easily create invoices.
Yes.
And Elisabeth had that and she let me share it, like let me use it too. But I literally have like in my head, because I do not do like anything but digitally printed because I just don't enjoy it. Yeah. And so I literally know exactly how much everything costs and I know my formula for it and I just do it like, and it's really quick. Like my design pricing is like all inclusive. It's very, very easy for me to price out something. Like I made it that way because I hate putting together pricing for a client. Like putting together a custom quote used to be really daunting. And now it's very easy. Like it's going to be, if you get 5 cards, like each card in that suite is going to be the same amount. I don't care what size it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you have it blank or with a bunch of artwork on it, it's going to be the same price. Like I basically price that way. So I came up with my own system for that. And we talk about this a ton in depth, our pricing structures in the Business Sense for Creatives, which is now $53 and it's really cheap. So
because it should always be your baseline plus your materials.
Yeah.
Like your design fee plus your materials, and your design fee really shouldn't like be changing.
Yes.
So
okay. Done with that one.
Done. Okay.
Woo!
Hey guys, we just wanted to hop in and talk about one of our amazing resources, the A to Z directory. All of us have thought at some point, how did she do that or how did she make that? And maybe you don't know where to start or how the heck to produce this amazing product you've dreamt up.
Well, the A to Z directory is the missing puzzle piece in your biz, you guys, seriously. So it's built in the form of a yearly membership, and it's your one-stop shop for finding suppliers and vendors for all the things. Literally where to print everything from custom invitations, greeting cards, mugs, koozies, acrylic printing, letterpress, custom ribbon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it literally goes from A to Z. From acrylic printers to zipper pouches, we have it in the A to Z directory.
We want to help all of you search less and create more with this list of 300 plus vendors and suppliers. Don't worry, they're very organized. It's not going to be overwhelming and confusing when you join. And this membership also includes access to a private Facebook community. It's incredibly active and involved. And if you need a question answered fast, that is definitely the place to go.
Yeah, our Facebook group really is the best. You guys, everyone is so helpful in there. And we're in there too, answering questions you guys might have. So it's a great way to get access to us and ask us things without sliding into our DMs. So we're more likely to answer you in the Facebook group, just saying. Anyway, also in the Facebook group, this is new for 2020 and we're really excited about it. We are hosting monthly Power Hour Q&A sessions that are live, and these are only available to our A to Z directory members. So you can hop in with us live and ask us all your burning questions in real time and just hang out with us every month. And we do these at different times so you can actually be there live, and the replays are always available in the Facebook group for members.
This resource is priced at $147 a year, which honestly is extremely affordable and is full of so many benefits, such as exclusive vendor coupons for members only. And we would love to have you guys join. Seriously, it's kind of like our family and our tribe. So visit bizbirthdaybash.com/directory to sign up today and use coupon code podcast2020 to receive $20 off your first year. That's podcast, all caps, 2020 for $20 off your first year.
We can't wait to see you in the Facebook group.
Working with wedding planners.
I have a few calls set up with wedding planners and I have zero clue what to expect. Any insight or suggestions on what I should prepare? Do you offer discounts for clients brought to you by wedding planners or a kickback to the planner?
Discounts and kickbacks? No.
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 No. And we also have a really good podcast episode on this. I do not remember. Do we have someone talk about Sierra?
Sierra talked about working
We have
with
a
wedding
podcast
planners.
episode about working with planners that goes really in depth with this. But in terms of working with wedding planners, it's going to be different every single time. Like some, you might be working with just the planner and not talk to the client at all. Some, the planners just kind of guides on the process. Sometimes the planner's going to try to jump in and just like commandeer everything. And it's like bananas. So you got to like really take the reins. So with this one, with working with wedding planners, I would just say, be very sure of your systems and be like, this is how I work. I understand, because they might be like, well, other stationers I've worked with have done this. And you can be like, okay, well, this is how I'm doing it. And just don't like be intimidated. You really have to stand your ground sometimes with planners. And then other planners are so great and they just keep the process moving smoothly. Sometimes they'll already have like design boards and mood boards set up for you. So it makes it pretty easy to work with them. And they just keep the client like, okay, make sure you're on time for this. So it's really going to depend on the actual planner itself and that type of situation. But I would just say, make sure you stand your ground and have your processes in place and just be very like forthright and be like, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to send this, then this happens, because planners like to know what's coming next. And when you set those expectations really, really well, then they'll probably stay out of your way.
Yeah. So it says you're in the question that you have a few calls set up with wedding planners. So here's like my insight into that. Like, take charge. And like, I mean it, because if they have a phone call with you, like, you want to be in control. You don't want one of those awkward conversations where you're like, so do you have any questions for me? Like, what do you want to know? You're like, let me tell you about my process. Let me tell you about how I treat my clients. Let me tell you about why I'm the best at what I do. Like, that's the attitude you want to take. And I would say, like, clarify up front. This is something I ask wedding planners whenever I network. I ask them, like, do you ever expect like a kickback? How do you do all of that? Because I just want to let you know, I personally don't offer any of that. I prefer to work directly with the client and have them pay the invoices. Even if the wedding planner is my main point of contact, I still a lot of times like want the client to be paying, because that's my personal policy is I want the client to be paying face value. I do not want a wedding planner to get a quote for me and turn around to a client and upcharge my quote by like 30%. Like, I want to avoid that from happening. So
full transparency.
Right. You don't, I have a big problem with wedding planners that are doing things like that they hire people on behalf of the client, but then they're upcharging to the client. I just think that's like really scummy. So I tried to like clarify like that up front, that is like my personal business policy, that I do not offer like a kickback or anything like that. However, I will say, like, let's say that there is a wedding planner who's brought you several clients. You can be like, oh, you're a Susie Marie Lou wedding planning client. I am going to give you like a free bar sign or something because you're booking with me. Like, that's part of your package
you
for
can
booking with her.
Come up with like little incentives to be like, hey, if you book with me, like we work together a lot. We kind of have a good flow going. Like, there's planners I work with fairly often. I love working with their clients. And honestly, I haven't thrown anything extra for that client, but I do give the planners gifts too. When I'm like, thanks again for bringing me another amazing client. I love working with y'all, and I'll just send them a little something in the mail too. But I love the idea of, as well as being like, you're a Susie Q wedding client, I'm going to give you a free bar sign or whatever. If you wanted to do that, just to like keep that relationship even further. And they can use that too as leverage to be like, oh, well, if you book with Eliza and she offers this for my clients as something we worked out together. Like, so it just is like like a good partnership to have in that. And you can kind of work with the planner and find a planner that you like have that good relationship with. So that's the only way I would offer it. If it was a planner I really love working with, the type of clients you love working with, and it just made sense. So
yeah, I think that's the best type of relationship, is that the planner wants you to have all the money the client is spending.
Yeah, like, you both are like, yes, we love working together.
Yeah, anytime that there's like some sort of financial motive that the planner is only recommending you because they know that they're going to get like 10% of the transaction or something, just seems weird to me. It just does. I don't like that. I want them to recommend me because I'm good at what I do and because they trust me and because I'm going to give their clients the best experience. So, boom. Okay. When talking about brand aesthetic, do you limit the color palette options you offer to custom clients? I'm assuming if we are talking about like logos here per se.
Maybe wedding invitations.
Oh, okay. For example, if you tend to be more of a muted palette brand, if someone comes to you wanting something so different than what you feel like is on brand for you, I see the question. How do you handle that? How do you take on the order and not feature it on social media? Because I feel like this happens a lot to me.
I feel like your personal brand colors don't necessarily dictate how you design. But also you're going to have a personal style that they are obviously coming to you. They're attracted for something that you do. Like clients don't come to me and are like, I want a cutout geometric shape letterpress invitation. Like they never say that. They're like, I want something watercolor. And if they did say that, I would be like, I am not the right fit for you because I only do watercolors. See? So we talk a lot about like what you show sells. So if you're showing only muted stuff, they want something neon, then you can say, hey, this might not be the right fit, but you also need to figure out like, where is this disconnect coming? Like, why are they asking you for these neon things if you don't offer it? Or maybe they would love to work with you because you seem like an awesome person. And like, I think it's okay to do something color wise. It might not necessarily be in your wheelhouse, but in terms of like design wise, like I could do something watercolor with neon. Like that'd be fun. Like that's fine, but stylistically it still works. So I think as long as stylistically it works with your brand, it's okay about the colors being different. Like if you're more worried about like showing it on social media because it's neon, then you don't have to show anything if you don't want to. You can just do it to have the client and get paid or whatever. But don't feel pressure like you have to show the neon suite if it doesn't work with your vibe. And who knows, you might actually end up loving doing something like that. But if you get that gut feeling, you're like, I'm going to hate this and it's going to be really hard for me to design because it just doesn't work with my brain, then you can just say no.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't say yes to anything you're uncomfortable with. Like, I will say that I have realized that my preferred type of client to work with is someone who embraces color and loves bold designs and loves things to be fun and funky and like out there. Like, I am not a whimsical, organic, like natural type of like designer. That doesn't fall in my wheelhouse. But I did get a client earlier this year, almost a $10,000 client who I knew was going to have more of a muted palette, more of a laid back brand, like olive green and like creams. That was like kind of it, like very minimalistic. We even ended up using handmade paper, which is like so not me at all. But it was something that I still felt like was going to like further my business and not like hinder it. It has not been as like bad as I thought it would be. Yeah. It's actually my first time like working, like specifically communicating with the planner, which is funny because I communicated with the client for the save the date. Yeah. And then I've communicated with the planners for the wedding invitations and whatever, like we figured it all out. But I still think like the design, like the overall design of what the suite looks like is very true to like me and my work and what I present and what I want to do. It just might not have like the same like textures and like paper types that I would like normally go for. But I still think it could potentially be an asset to my portfolio. Like the key is just sticking within your design approach. Like Cami said, like Cami's not going to do like die cuts for letterpress. That makes no sense for her, but that would make a lot of sense for me. So she might send something like that my way. Like you want a referral network. That's why I also love the A to Z directory. Yeah. People refer stuff
like my one bride who literally just wanted like basically typography letterpress. I'm like, why did you come to me then? Like, why are you here? I want to paint you something. I mean, we did do painting stuff, but I was just like, this is not like my strength. Like you're paying me for something, but you're not getting the most bang for your buck by using me for this. Yeah. Like, so anyway, hopefully that was helpful.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
Done answering that. Hopefully that helps, Stacey.
If you're not surveying your audience for new product ideas, how do you know if your customers are interested in a new product and your products will actually sell? So you start with a small amount of inventory, promote it, and see how it goes. This is all about like the way you are promoting it. Like if you are going to be like, no, like we talked about, like if you're not showing up strong with the product you're trying to sell, it's not going to sell. It's just not.
And people don't want what they don't see.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, does that make sense? Or
Yeah.
People, right. Like I'm not randomly going to be like, oh, Cami, I was really hoping for XYZ from you. Like if I stumbled upon your website and I found your stir sticks, I'd be like, oh my God, I never knew I needed these, but now I need them because I see them and they're so cute. Like it's a psychology thing from my perspective, I think. Like you got to put it out there for them to want it, basically.
And like, honestly, you guys, you're almost just trying to sell your brand and like the feeling that your brand gives. Okay. So like Rifle Paper Co., literally anytime they put out anything, I'm like, oh my God, this is the cutest thing ever. I don't even know what it is. I'd be like, here's a ring dish and here's this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. It's like the exact same pattern they used for like 10 years. And I'm like, oh no, it's a new notebook. And I'm like, it's so excited. And like, that is why I'm like, okay, it's not even like that they didn't ask me if I wanted a notebook with like gold foil. And they were just like, here's the newest thing. It's beautiful. It's lovely. I designed it. It has this thing on it. And I'm like, I have to have it. Like, I love it. And so don't be afraid. Like you don't have to ask and be like, tell me what you guys want. Tell me what you guys want. You're like, I'm going to tell you what you want because I'm a trendsetter. I'm an artist. I'm putting out something amazing. If you want to be invited and have this awesome stir stick that's so cute, it's going to make your morning coffee so much better, then get it. And if you don't, that's too bad because there's going to be someone else who's going to want it. So you really just have to put yourself out there without the fear, because this is what it really comes down to, is confidence and feeling like you are lacking confidence and having to ask someone else to give you that and looking for validation, when really you just have to validate yourself and be like, I'm going to put it out there and it's awesome. Like, and there will be failures. Like you have to understand, like some of the things you make are going to suck and it's just totally fine. And you might lose some money sometimes. That's why you start small, but this all kind of works itself out too, as you keep growing and putting out new stuff and trying new things. Like it has taken me like literally 3 years to finally like figure out a style of greeting cards that is actually sold. Like 3 years. Like it's not like overnight you have success or anything like that. And I'm sure there are card designers like that. But for me, it has taken me a long time to figure out my style, what sells, what works with my voice, the look I'm going for. And it literally like just clicked one day. And it wasn't me asking my audience, like, do you guys like minimal designs or like more funky? Because people are going to have all different types of things. Like literally I had that clicking moment. I was like, Elisabeth, I know my style. I know how I'm going to put myself out there. And like, that was it. So it's like finding that confidence and just taking the time to get to that experience.
Yeah. I get it, Cheryl. It feels very like chicken and the egg.
It is.
Really
it's very weird. It's like hard to explain and hard to describe, but it's almost like
But here's what I think. Like nobody ever would have wanted a chicken if they only saw the egg. Because they'd be like, let's say it was just like the egg first. You're like, what is in that?
The way you say egg throws me off.
Egg. Oh, right. She thinks I say weird either. But you see a cute chicken walking around, you're like, I need that.
Like, oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, you got to be the innovator and not the asker. Like I want you to be the trendsetter. Like think of yourself as in Devil Wears Prada, and she's like, oh yes, I will decide the trends for spring. And she's like, here's what it is, whatever. And that's what it is. And just becomes that. So I'm rambling. So okay.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps like clarify that a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey there, fellow stationers. Are you creating custom invitations and still sending a lackluster contract that's hacked together with Google searches and generic templates? We've got you.
We've created a custom stationery contract written for stationers by stationers, and it is lawyer reviewed and approved. #LegalRockstar. The custom stationery contract template covers every stationery snafu, protects you and your client's interests, and sets up an expectation of professionalism. We've combined our previous contracts as well as years of experience to bring you a contract that covers your booty and your biz. Become a put-together pro and breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you have a contract that is easy to understand and avoids confusing legal jargon.
The custom stationery contract template is only $297, which is much less than what you can expect to pay anywhere else. And it's written by 2 gals who have seen it all.
Spoiler alert, it's us.
It's time to do things right. Go to bizbirthdaybash.com/contract to purchase and download your copy today. And as a special treat, use code PODCAST2020 to get $20 off. And that's podcast all caps 2020 to get $20 off.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Hi, Cami, Elisabeth. I have a pricing question. Can I lower the price of my art prints? In 2019, I made my first prints, sold them at local gift shops, and they did not sell well. You sold them at local gift shops. Oh, okay. I was like, do you sell them wholesale? I think I priced them too high. I intentionally priced them a bit higher than my competitors in an effort to attract a high-end market. Now I have leftovers and would like to try to sell them, but do not want to anger customers who already paid the higher price. Thanks for all your helpful and entertaining advice.
So there's a couple different things here.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to unpack.
Yeah, the first thing I want to attack is that there's a price threshold for prints, especially if you are producing them a certain way. And if you're producing them the same as your competitors and packaging the same as your competitors, you cannot price higher than your competitors. Like, you can't price yourself out of the market. Like, you're not going to attract like a luxury like buyer just because it's a higher price.
Yes.
You can attract a luxury buyer because your product packaging is way better, because you print on a way better paper. But if you're packaging the same and printing the same, and as
or because you have that brand perception that this is a super rare piece, there's only one available that you're putting out or something like that. Like, this is where that brand perception comes into play. But if you're just like, I did this thing, I'm going to put a higher price on it because that'll make it high end. That is not what makes, something
so it's
high-end.
like, say I have like 2 10x10 prints like in a store, and I'm like looking at them and I'm like, these are packaged the same. They are printed the same. They're flat digital printing. They look on similar.
Is subjective too.
They look on similar cardstock, right?
Yeah.
And they're both kind of like dogs. But I'm trying to decide like which one I like better. Oh, this one's $36 and this one's $22. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go with like the $22 one. It's kind of like that like weighted like logical decision for a consumer, especially like when you're in person. They're not on your website. They're not getting the vibe from your website. They're getting the vibe from the local shop. And the local shop has leveled the playing field, okay? The playing field is very level except for like the price.
And I would need to know about the local shop. Like, what kind of local shop are we talking here? Where is your product being? Like, there's so many things that could do with this. But anyway, in terms of leftovers that you're trying to sell them, you're not going to anger customers who already paid the higher price. Your customers who paid the higher price probably don't even know that you're selling them at a lower price. To be quite honest, they're probably not coming back to your website and be like, how dare she sell these for whatever now? Because I have sales, like I'll just randomly do a flash sale one day and be like, okay, everything's 20% off. And like, customers never come back and be like, oh, this was this. I mean, if they do, you can be like, okay, well, you can buy it for this price now. I'm not going to like refund you for the price you paid there. Like, don't worry about it. Sometimes we get so in our head about what everyone thinks. And it's like, you're running a business here, not a charity. So like, if they're going to be upset that they paid a little bit more for an art print, then they're not your type of customer anyway. They should be excited to support a small business. So anyway, that's my rant on that.
Sure. That's how I feel. And also, Grace, the same principle is kind of like happening here. Like, there's a lot of people obviously in this chat who bought the A to Z directory. They're not mad that we're like doing a sale for people to get into the A to Z directory.
I mean,
at least I don't think you guys are. But
what can you do?
They're just excited for people to get it, And that's like, if you're selling something good, that's how people should feel about it. So no, I don't think you will anger people. Like you learned your lesson. So.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. When it comes to reviews, I've had quite a few clients and asked a few times for reviews or feedback and haven't heard anything back from them. Any advice on how to get them to fill out a form or leave a review? I asked for feedback when sitting there tracking email, wrapping up everything, and then a month or so after their project wedding.
First of all, Grace, it's totally fine that you didn't. That you didn't provide innumerable amounts of detail. It's really okay.
Totally good.
Don't feel bad.
Our answer will probably be the same.
We're just feeling sassy right now.
Yeah. So how to get like reviews? I feel like this is your timing is not the best, because a month or so after their project and wedding, they have moved on. They do not care anymore. I'm sorry. They just don't. So when I ask for a review is literally right when I say, hey, your invitations, I just mailed them. They're on their way to their guests, because they're already so jazzed, because you're like, your invitations are mailed. It's your mailing day. Mm-hmm. If you have some time, I would love if you could just leave me a review on my Facebook page, and I link it right there. I make it so easy for them. And I'm like, it really helps me to like, for other brides to know your experience. And they're in such a great mood. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to leave a review. Yeah. I'm going to go type a lot. They haven't even seen the invitations or whatever in person yet, but they're so excited because you're mailing them. It's a great time, because a month after the wedding, everything's said and done. They're kind of settling in. They're just like, whew, they don't want to go back and think of it. So you got to get them like hot off the press, basically.
Think about this. They're writing thank you notes to potentially hundreds of guests. Yeah. You are not a top priority at that point for them to do anything. And I learned this lesson the hard way for sure with someone I really wanted feedback from. Like, you should, like Cami said, be asking the minute that they are sent to the guests, like sometimes before they even the final invoice is paid,
The final invoice. Yeah. Anything where there's still like not like literally just wrapped up, like possibly just wrapped up, like send them the way to review. And to make it really easy for it, I used to send a form for them to fill out. And then I was like, this is idiotic because now I have to like compile this into something. And I can't even put it anywhere that like Google reviews. I can't go like add that review for the client. Yeah. So, or like, I like to put mine on Facebook because that's where I like to gather mine on my Facebook page because I don't want my address on Google. Anyway, okay. So yeah, make it a link for them where they can go paste it or copy and paste it or write it from their name, not where you give them a form because that's just not how we do reviews anymore.
I send all of them to Google.
Yeah, it's 2020 now. People don't need to fill out forms. They need to actually like write the review. There's so many places where you can gather reviews. So just pick one place and go for that. Like there's like and Wedding Wire, but I don't like really care about marketing myself on there. So I chose Facebook to be my review platform. Or you can say, here's all the places, just copy and paste it. It's super easy and tell them how easy it is to leave a review.
Yeah, but all of that needs to be done before the wedding. And
if you really want to like them, you can be like, every client who leaves me a review, I send a little surprise in the mail or something like that. And then send them like an art print or like a print of their crest or something from the wedding. I used to do that too. I'd be like, all my clients who send it, I will mail you a little something. And they'd be like, ooh, I wonder what it is. And they would leave a review.
Exactly.
So yeah, hopefully that was helpful.
Perfect. Okay. What goes into a pre-sale? Is it as simple as someone orders and pays and it ships later? Yeah, basically.
Like I'll just put a picture of something. Sometimes it's just a mock-up because I literally don't even have the product. And I just want to test and see, like when I did, the most recent one I did was with my placemat pads. I literally just made a bunch of mock-ups, put them up there. And I was like, I'm not ordering any of these until people actually buy them because it's going to be expensive for me to do that. And I was like, these will ship in 2 weeks. This is your anticipated ship date. And I did like a little bit lower price, just like make it exciting, like a pre-sale and not just a pre-order, and just have that. The most important thing is to have that expectation that this is going to ship in like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever your timeline is. So the client's not like, or the customer's not like, when the heck am I supposed to get this? So they take 3 weeks to get anything out to me. So just make that very clear. But yeah, just as simple as that. It's just a way to test the waters.
Yep. For my ornaments, I ordered like one sample from the company. And once I got the sample and was like, okay, I love this, I want to move forward, I posted it as pre-sale. And once again, said it was going to be like 2 weeks or whatever. And then it ended up being even longer than that. And I had to follow up via email and whatever. But I still sold a bunch in like pre-sale, which is great because that helps go towards like the money for placing the full order.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, let's say you get like 2 orders, right? And you're like, ooh, there's like not excitement for this. This is not going to sell. I don't think this is going to happen. You can reach out to those customers and be like, thank you so much for your like support. I'm so sorry, but I've like chosen to like not move forward with this product. So I will be refunding you.
Yeah. Or you could just be like, if it's something you can actually just order 2 of them, you could just do that. But if it's something where like, I actually need to order like 100 of these to make it work and it's just not going to work with 2, then definitely do that. And sometimes you guys, I'm going to be honest, I have pre-sale on something and I don't sell any of it. And I'm like, I'm ordering it anyway because I know it's going to do good.
Yeah,
like a couple.
Your gut instinct.
Yeah, I'm like, it doesn't matter. It was just bad timing. I'm ordering it anyway, and that's like me figuring out how to show up strong and moving forward. Like a couple of the placemats, a couple of the designs like didn't sell in pre-sale, and I was like, I know these will sell. And then when I got them in and like showed them, then they sold, and I was like, cool, okay, so we're good.
Yeah, it's almost like that gut instinct of what products work well for your business.
Yeah, you just gotta follow your heart. Follow your heart.
Can you use a client management system if your business is not registered yet or a side hustle?
Absolutely.
100%. They do not require you to put any like tax information or anything like that to be able to use their platform.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
That was done. Yes. Tips on getting the best photos for social media. It's hiring a photographer specializing in products worth it. Obviously, it can be costly, but may be worth it. So absolutely having a photographer specializing in products is totally worth it. I need to hire my photographer again, who did my invitations because she does products as well. And I wanted to get her to come in and shoot like Christmas stuff. I just never have my stuff together enough to like get photos on time. So it's always me just doing it myself. So I'm always taking my own photos. And when I'm not taking my own photos, I like to use mock-ups to use for social media because you can take a picture of just like a blank greeting card and then just Photoshop, like you holding it and making it and doing the lighting perfect. And then just Photoshopping that same design over it. So you kind of make your own stock photos, which is really helpful for me for doing Christmas photos last year because I drive myself crazy getting the colors right on products. That's like the hardest part of product photography. And I use the app Lightroom to edit everything. I have presets now set up for literally every single product. It's very easy to make them. You can just literally save settings. And so I know and it's literally specific to locations in my office. Like I know if I'm taking a picture here, I have a specific preset I will use for that product on this side of my office on this background, because I know that's what works. So it gets a little crazy, but Lightroom has been a game changer, and just knowing where the best consistent lighting in your office is. Mine is kind of in the middle because it gets really bright right here. And then if you do hire the photographer, definitely just provide some sort of Pinterest board of being here's kind of the vibe I'm going for, and have all your props ready to go. If they have props, have them bring it, and just expect to spend a lot of time styling it out. But it is helpful to have reference points of images to look at and be okay, I like how J. Crew styles their stuff. I want to have that kind of vibe. Or I like how Anthropology has nothing else, just a plain background with a really soft shadow. Mm-hmm. So you just understand the type of look you're going for with, and they understand your brand.
I up-leveled myself a ton when I did this for my wedding invitations specifically. I had 2 photographers who came in. I would style a set. They would photograph it while I was styling another set. It made all the difference. And then I put those on my crappy old website and was and now I need a new website. Great.
Oh, okay. So, we're at 4:52. We have 8 minutes left.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Lord. Okay.
We have 2 more, so we can do this.
We can do it. Question about pricing. Would your design fee be the same whether your client wants either 25 invitations or 100 invitations? Also, would you mark up the materials that you use? Yes, yes, and yes. If someone orders 1 invitation or 100, it is going to be the exact same design fee no matter what. And marking up materials, we definitely mark up materials because you should be buying them at a wholesale rate. If you join the A to Z directory, you will get those wholesale vendors. And so as a wholesaler, you need to sell them for retail to your customer/client. So absolutely. You are in this business to make money, not give things away.
It cracks me up when people are I just need 1 invitation.
I'm great. That's $10,000.
Yeah, mock up on my wedding day. And I'm I'm so sorry. It's still the same amount of design time for me. And so you'd have to be willing to pay my design fee, which then people are oh, no.
I know.
Okay. Last one to piggyback off the planner question. When you contract out work to another creative for your client, such as calligraphy, line work, drawings, or watercolor, do you upcharge the calligrapher price or anything like that? I haven't hired out any work yet, but wasn't sure. No, I would not be comfortable.
Yeah, I haven't hired out work like that before, but I would not upcharge it.
No.
If I hired Elizabeth to be the calligrapher for an invitation suite, I wouldn't tack on extra.
Yeah, that would be so weird if Cami was I'm charging, Elizabeth's going rate is $3 an envelope, but I'm charging my client $4.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that unless I was but I'm going to set up the address file or something something active I was doing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
But no,
if you have an agreement as a calligrapher with the planner and you understand that's how it works and that's what they need to charge for the time, their communication with you and getting you envelopes and stuff like that, that would make sense. But when you're asking for somebody spot calligraphy or drawings that are sent to you digitally and all of that stuff and don't require all of this back and forth, no, I would not upcharge on another creative's work.
Don't do that.
I'd feel like a jerk.
Yeah. Okay. We answered all the questions. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. It's been super, super fun as always. So
love you
guys so much, and we'll see you later. Hope to see you in the A to Z directory because it'll be so much fun. And we do live things like this every month.
We'll need to make a welcome thread for people.
I'm going to do a Starbucks thing. So,
okay.
So join. You might get free coffee. That's worth it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.